1970 Rams 9-win, 4-loss, 1-tie record and failure to make the playoffs was not related to any failure on the part of the Rams' defensive front four, nicknamed the Fearsome Foursome. The 1970 version of the Fearsome Foursome was actually the third, as the first was comprised of Hall of Famers Deacon Jones and Merlin Olsen, along with Rosie Greer and Lamar Lundy. In the second version, right defensive tackle Roger Brown replaced Rosie Greer. And in 1969, the third dominant version consisted of Jones, Olsen, Coy Bacon, and Dyron Talbert. Let's get after it. Future Hall of Famer George Allen was the Rams head coach in 1970, and his team had a lot of top-shelf talent, including quarterback Roman Gabriel, a 9-year veteran who was the NFL's most valuable player in 1969. The Rams used four main running backs, and Willie Ellison was the most electric of them. He only had 90 rushes and 10 receptions on the year, but he scored 7 touchdowns and should have been utilized more. In 1971, he rushed for an even 1,000 yards and broke the single game rushing yardage record with 247. Les Josephson led the team in rushing with 640 yards, but he was beginning to show his age as he was essentially done after the 1971 season. The Rams even tried two-time Super Bowl champion Elijah Pitts at running back for 2 games and 8 yards, but he was toast at age 32. One bright spot was in the kickoff return department, where Alvin Heyman led the NFL with 1,022 yards, and the Rams as a team led the NFC with a 26.29 average return. Kicker David Ray is a classic he came out of nowhere story. He didn't even kick at the University of Alabama and was drafted in the 10th round by the Browns in 1966, but he couldn't stick with them and was traded to the Rams for a draft pick, where he played on their taxi squad. In 1967, he was released and signed by the Falcons as a free agent, but they released him in 1968 and he went to play in the Canadian Football League and received his first action as a kicker in professional play. In 1969, the Rams signed him as a free agent, and he was a rookie in 1970 who busted out with 121 points scored, which was second most in the NFL. In 1973, he had another big year as he led the NFL with 130 points. The Rams' weakness was their secondary, where they were getting long in the tooth. The defense was 11th in the NFL in passing yards allowed. After the disappointing 1970 season, George Allen parted ways with the Rams, and they brought in UCLA head coach Tommy Prothro. In week 4, the Rams charged into the Coliseum, having won all 6 of their preseason games and their first 3 regular season games. Roman Gabriel had a tough day as he was sacked 3 times, threw 2 interceptions, and could only muster 101 net yards passing while the Rams committed 4 turnovers. The Rams traveled to Minnesota in week 6 and lost 13-3. They rushed 23 times for only 66 yards and only mustered 5 first downs, had 34 net yards passing, and committed 5 turnovers. More than 76,000 fans filed into the Coliseum to watch number 18 Al Woodall quarterback the New York Jets. The Rams' number 18, Roman Gabriel, got the Rams on the board early and fired some terrific passes. He also threw some poor ones, and he was intercepted 3 times on the day. Gabriel's second touchdown pass was anticlimactic, as it came with only 1.5 minutes remaining and the Rams down by 18 points. The Rams ran the ball 20 times for only 51 yards. Al Woodall shredded the Rams' defense for 261 yards and 3 touchdowns on only 10 passes. The Jets were on a 6-game losing streak, and they didn't have their leader, Joe Namath, at quarterback, but they still pulled off this stunner to win 31-20. In Week 13 at home against the Lions, the Rams couldn't run the ball as they had 15 rushes for only 47 yards in a losing effort. The Rams were fourth in points scored and second in points allowed. 7 times they scored more than 30 points in a game. That's exactly half their games. Their point differential was plus 8.8 per game. They had 9 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie, and did not qualify for the wild card because the Lions had the better record at 10-4. The 49ers won the Western Division in which the Rams played, so why did they make the playoffs? Well, first off, their running backs were aging. Tommy Mason was 31 and Les Josephson was 28. And in 1969, first-round draft pick Larry Smith did not pan out, and they didn't give the ball enough to Willie Ellison, who would gain 1,000 yards in 1971. The Rams only averaged 3 yards per carry in their 3 losses to the Vikings, Jets, and Lions. That isn't going to get it done. Secondly, their defensive secondary was weak. They were 11th in passing yards allowed, and as noted earlier, the players were nearing the end of their careers. And number 3, and most importantly, their home record was only 3 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie. And they could not beat the good teams. They lost to the 49ers with a 10-3-1 record, the Lions with a 10-4 record, and the Vikings with a 12-2 record. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please share it, like it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thank you for watching.